What's up, YouTube, and welcome
to Neek Lives.
This is part 2 of my All About LEDs tutorial. This video focuses on wiring more than one LED together. There are a couple of ways to do this, and I'll go over the benefits and drawbacks of each. My last video had me focusing on wiring a single LED, and I used a power source with a higher voltage to show you how to use resistors. For this video, I'm going to be using two power sources. This 4 AA battery pack and this 2 AA battery pack. Remember that AA batteries are 1.5 volts apiece, so 2 batteries equals 3 volts, and of course 4 would equal 6. As you can see, I've already soldered the LEDs together, and please don't make fun of me. I know my soldering skills aren't the best, but nonetheless, I went ahead and did that just because it makes it easier to demonstrate rather than having to kind of twist them around like I did before. So I also want to state that I'm going to be using 2 for both methods of wiring. And the reason for that is just to keep it simpler. I mean, you guys can take this concept that I'm going to give you and add on to that as many as you have a power source to power it. Now, on to the specifics of wiring more than one LED together. There are 2 ways of doing this. The first method of accomplishing this is through something called wiring in series, which is what I have right here. This means that our positive power source lead will go to the first LED's positive lead. Next, the negative of our first lead will attach to the positive of our second lead. So right here's your positive, this is obviously the negative, and then this is your positive, and then this is the negative. Okay, so how this works is, once again, this is our positive, negative, positive, negative. That's why it's called a series. It's a series of LEDs, and in this case only 2. And if you remember correctly, these are 3 volts. Now, this is our power source right here, and this right here is also 3 volts. So, you would think, okay, let us put these on here, get our positive right here, and I could have some alligator clamps. I would probably make this a whole lot easier, but unfortunately I do not have any right now. So as you can see, nothing's happening. And this brings me to the first downfall of wiring in series, which it's actually the positive and the negative of it. Basically, when you wire in a series, each one of these are taking a portion of the voltage from our power source. So for example, this is 3 volts, and it's going to be, the voltage is going to be evenly distributed to each LED. So since there are 2 LEDs, that obviously means this voltage is going to be cut in half. So that means that all we're getting is 1.5 volts to each. And obviously these are 3 volt LEDs. That just isn't going to cut it. To prove my point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this right here, which is 6 volts of power. Don't forget, 1.5 volts for each battery. 4 is 6 volts. Okay. So, if we take this, look at that. Well, if I can get it on there good. There we go. Look at that. Lights up just perfect. And the reason for that is because these are 3 volt LEDs, 6 volts of power, drawn through in a series. 2 3 volt LEDs are going to evenly distribute, so it's going to be 3 volts each because it's going to cut it in half. Now if I had 3, it wouldn't work because it would be cut in thirds, and so on and so on. Interesting fact time, this is also why your traditional Christmas lights, when one bulb goes out, they all go out. Everybody knows the frustration of wiring those stupid things up. Well, the reason why is because if one of these blows, you don't have a current flowing to the next one. So if you don't have a current flowing to the next one, all the subsequent ones are going to go out. And that's one of the biggest drawbacks to wiring in a series. Next, we're going to move this out of the way, and we're going to talk about our next option, which is called wiring in parallel. Now, unlike wiring in a series, wiring in parallel doesn't split the voltage. For example, I have 3 volts here, and once again, these are each 3 volts. It's actually going to distribute 3 volts to each LED. For example, if I had 20 of these wired in parallel, they would all be powered just fine by a 3-volt battery pack. Now, here's the thing. Keep in mind that when you distribute it like this, it is going to kill your batteries a lot faster. So always bear that in mind. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and show you. Like this. If I can get it. Well, hold on. There you go. As you can see, all this is a little 3-volt battery pack that can power up 2 3-volt LEDs just fine with no problem. Now, why is this? Well, if we take a closer look, basically, unlike wiring in series, all of the positive electrodes have their own wire and all of the negative electrodes have their own wire. And kind of an easy way to get you to understand why it works this way is just when I put both of these here, if you think about it, well, see if I can get it going here. Okay. What happens is, for every lead that comes off of it, for example, I mean, I could add another positive, another positive, another positive, as long as it came back to the same negative, I mean, we could, you know, make this extremely long. And what happens is, as long as there are different leads coming off, the electricity is going to flow through each one with the full power. Think of it kind of as like a almost a wave, like a flow of water going through it. If you think about it, what will happen is it's sending out 3 volts through here, and it sends 3 volts that way, but then it's also going to send 3 volts that way. And the reason why, when you, in a parallel, if things are wired in parallel, if you were to say, cut this, it's still going to light this LED up here. And the reason for that is because it's still sending 3 volts up here. Unlike in series, once you cut this, here I'll show you, once you cut this, it stops the flow of electricity. This stops the flow of electricity to this LED, but it can still go up there, go through, and then come back down our negative. So that really kind of makes it the easiest way. If you want to think about it like that, just think about it as more of like a river flowing, or any body of water really, just flowing. So when it's going to cap off here and cap off here, so even when you cut this, there's still stuff going all the way through. There's still electricity going all the way through. So that's it on part 2 of All About LEDs. If you liked it, please thumbs up and subscribe. I really do appreciate it. It helps out a lot. Have a great day.